Go ahead. Oh, I think I muted all of you. Go ahead, unmute yourself, Mohan
Oh,
Sai.
sorry. So in Shloka 45, the Trigunyo and the Nistraigunyo, the three gunas are Dharma, Artha, Kama or Sattva, Rajas, Tamo guna.
Yeah, three gunas are sattva, rajas, tamaha only.
Okay.
So not to get confused between dharmartha, kama. I brought dharmartha, kama because they are because the Vedas, he doesn't say give up the Vedas entirely. The portion of the Vedas which you have already been following for your artha and kama and for your dharma, it will keep you in that. That's what is being said. So no, it
Okay.
doesn't mean
Okay. Thank you.
artha, kama. Yeah. Guna does not mean artha, kama, dharma. No. Yeah, go ahead. Anil Pugalia.
The Brahmanasya Vijanataha. So this Vijanataha, is it like Shashti Vibhakti here again?
Correct. Vijanatah is Shashti Vibhakti. So
So
Pratipadikam is Vijanat.
yeah, so how do I
Vijanat.
interpret this? Like Brahmanasya Vijanataha, both are Shashti here.
Yeah, Vijanatah Brahmanasya. Of the knowing Brahmana. Vijanatah Brahmanasya.
Brahmanasya is also Shashti, right? So
Correct.
Yeah.
So any word that qualifies the Shashti Vibhakti has to be in Shashti also. So,
okay.
correct. Any word
What
that
does
qualifies it.
Vijanataha qualify here?
Huh?
What is Vijanataha referring to?
Vijanat means one who knows. One who knows. The Brahmana who knows the Atma. The Brahmana who knows the Atma. How will you translate that in Sanskrit? So, here the Shashti, both are given in Shashti.
Yeah, when there is a Shashti, it should be attached to some Prathama, right?
It should be attached to, yeah, correct.
So
Attached to some.
what is the Prathama here?
Prathama is Arthaha. Second word in this shloka. Arthaha is the Prathama. Brahmanasya Arthaha. The usefulness for the Brahmana. Arthaha means usefulness.
That has to be interpreted there.
Yeah, so usefulness for the Brahmana.
Because the Artha is only in their first line, not in the second line.
Yeah. Tell it. So it's a one sentence. The whole thing is one sentence. Whole thing is one sentence. So even though there are two lines in the shloka, correct? So artha, Brahmanasya arthaha. Of what utility it is for this Brahmana, for this wise person. Like that we have to take artha, paste artha once again if you want to.
How do we figure out ourselves, like why will the Artha come again?
By attending classes like this. Okay. So,
Hey, Kumar, can I ask you a couple of questions, please?
where are you, Hara? Not able to spot you.
Huh?
I'm not able to spot you. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay, good.
Yeah. Couple of things. One is, it is hard to take down the summary you give at the end of the shloka. Is it any way possible to extract that from your talk and put that under some kind of a
Good. So I got the question. So we can do that. I think Haim is already doing that. So we can, there are several people actually who have written notes on these classes too. Okay.
Yeah.
So they've written the class notes summarized, in one page per class, etc. So we will be happy to share that. But at the minimum, each class, what are the shlokas covered and what's the meaning of the shloka.
Right.
And
so Haim is doing that.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So,
And the second thing is, in the Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu. Now, Sri Krishna is saying in the entire Vedas, he should is it not referring only to the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas? Then if it is so, why does he say Sarveshu Vedeshu?
Yeah. So if shloka number 45 also there is a reference to Veda, correct? Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you have to take the Veda as Karma Kanda portion of the Veda.
Right.
Because Upanishad is not Traigunya. So
Right.
it talks about this Nirguna Atma. Therefore, we can leave Upanishads out of that. Now the person has studied the Upanishads and the person has understood what is Atma. Study the Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita or any text. It doesn't have to be Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't matter. Anything. Any text that talks about Atma. Now the person has understood. Now tell me, what is the use of the Veda for that person? The Vedas are of not used for that person anymore. Just like for you, the basic algebra book that you used in your 4th grade is not useful anymore. Correct? So here Sarveshu Veda can include both Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda.
Oh, does it include both here?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Why should it not include the Upanishads? Tell me. What does the Jnani do with the Upanishad? You tell me. Nothing. It doesn't mean don't respect the Vedas, don't chuck the Vedas. It doesn't mean all that. The Vedas has served its purpose. That is what it means. Okay. Don't go around saying I'm done. Goodbye, guys, and this and that. There's no need. That's not what is being said. The Vedas has served its purpose for this person. So not useful anymore. Useful means what? Without it, I am incomplete. That idea is not there for a jnani.
Yeah.
Idea is not there for a jnani. I am the whole. Everything that is here is Brahma and Atma is Brahma. So where is the question? He has swallowed the Vedas as it were. Correct?
Yeah.
Therefore, the Mundaka says, it makes a very bold statement. Talks about Paravidya and Aparavidya. Dve Vidya Veditavya.
Right.
Understand there are two types of knowledge. And then one type of knowledge is everything that you've been studying and are going to study, which is all the knowledge of anything in this world. And that is called Aparavidya.
Right.
And then the Paravidya is the knowledge of Atma.
Right.
Now, so what is included in Aparavidya? Mundaka Upanishad lists a few things. And you know what it is listing? It is listing Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, everything it is listing in that Aparavidya. Can you believe this? Mundaka Upanishad? The first time I heard it, I was a bit taken aback because I thought the Vedas was Paravidya. And Mundaka just smashed that idea completely. The entire Rigveda, it put Rigvedo, Atharvedo, Samavedo, P and all it says. And then what about Paravidya then? If you throw the Vedas out? Yaya Brahma Adhigamyate. This is what he says. Mundaka says. That by which Brahma becomes understood is Paravidya. He's quietly in passive voice he is put. Look at that. No active voice also. He doesn't say this is, he doesn't even want to point. Look at that. You know, Upanishad is shy to point out. Because anything you point to is an object. Even if it is I, if you point to it, then it becomes an object. So it is so shy. It is saying, Yaya Brahma Adhigamyate. When I read this, I said, my goodness, this is it. So therefore, the words of the Vedas also is Aparavidya.
Okay.
And so, therefore, what is the question for the Vedas? For the Brahmana, what is the question of Vedas serving a purpose? It has served the purpose for which it is meant for. So the job is done. Job is done. That is why when we do Harati in the temple or at home, we use camphor. The camphor, the property of a camphor is what? It burns without leaving any residue. Nothing is there left. You can't, nobody, I mean, you see black soot and all that. So pure camphor will not leave anything. It just completely burns off, correct?
Yeah.
And so you won't be able to say there was even camphor there. So it says, it means what? That jnanam is like that. It burns off everything. Everything is as though consumed. Everything is consumed. Nothing else is left, including the Vedas also consumed.
Mm.
Brilliant, is it not?
Mm.
Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we everything is sacred. Vedas is sacred. Why? Every object in the world is sacred. Ishvara is, the whole world is sacred for us. Of course, the Vedas is very sacred for us. But sanctity continues to be there. But for a jnani, the divisions that we have in our mind does not exist.
Mm.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So go ahead, Vijayji. What happened? Why is this? Why are you not able to unmute yourself?
Yeah. I unmuted. Yes. Thank you. So, Guruji, this point about Brahma, understanding Brahma, and then Vedas probably loses its significance for that person. But how is that relevant in Karma Yoga, which is what we were talking about? How this sloka came in here and not in the earlier part of Atma when he was describing?
Correct. So why does this sloka come when it talks about Karma Yoga? So it is not. That's why I said earlier, it's, Krishna is trying to inspire Arjuna. Trying to inspire Arjuna into what the vision is. And before talking about Karma Yoga. So it's not. So it doesn't talk about Karma Yoga per se. It says, trying to praise what's going to come by saying Karma Yoga is important, and only by that you come to know this Atma, and this is the nature of this knowledge, which basically culminates your study, your life culminates with the study of Vedanta. So yeah, you're right. Your observation is correct. Yeah, Hem, go ahead. Not able to hear you. This audio is not passing through.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I have a unrelated question related to the class. But so, what exactly is the nature of time, and how is time related to memory? I mean, what is dependent on what?
Yeah. So first thing to follow is understand is time is mithya. Okay. I think you understand that time is mithya.
Yeah.
And that can be seen very clearly by analyzing our, by the fact that we go to sleep, and in sleep there is no time. The concept of time is not there. Time is a concept that we have understood. So then, of course, memory also is mithya. And yeah, there is a relationship between time and memory. What is the relationship? I don't think we can say one depends on the other or anything like that. That statement I don't think we can make. Both are there. In memory, everything is in memory. About my past is in my memory. Everything about the past I have studied is all there in my memory. And so the idea of time is also there in memory, I suppose you can say. It's in memory, which gets recalled the minute you get up. And so I don't think the question of whether between memory and time, what is dependent on the other, may not be that much of a relevant question.
So that question actually came about because so if you try to imagine in a way that there is no past, every moment is now, then if you look at it that way, then the only reason why I even perceive a flow is because of memory. So is it that the flow of time which I perceive is purely because there is memory? Is is in that way is there a dependence? But then if you look at memory, then memory is really the perception of flow of time, so it's kind of circular that way.
Correct. So you can ask another question also. Suppose somebody loses their memory. Okay, possible. Body is very active, very healthy, but memory is gone. Then such a person may not remember his past, her past, and so many things are forgotten. And do they have an idea of time? I don't know. Doctor should answer that question. And so that's why time is an important concept that the Shastram talks about, in this knowledge. And so the memory is important. Chittam sometimes is used for memory. Smriti. And so the memory of time is there, no doubt about that. There is a memory of time, and because it's a learnt attribute, it's something that is learnt. This yesterday, today, tomorrow, past, present. The child doesn't know all these things. A growing child won't understand. 1 year old will not understand it. It takes some time before the child begins to understand yesterday, tomorrow, and all these things. Correct? Because time is a difficult concept to comprehend. Because it's imposed on you. It's imposed on you. Time is imposed. The child doesn't know what time is. It has to be taught yesterday, tomorrow, today, tomorrow, like this. The time has to be taught. It won't understand. Age and all, it doesn't understand. The child won't understand all this. It takes a while to grasp this idea of time. Maybe that gives us a clue that perhaps time is a superimposed attribute, superimposed concept on us.
Yeah. But also, Jaykumarji, what you just described is more, if you could say in common language, it would be long-term memory. But what I was referring more to was very short-term. Like, I perceive a flow of time, right? Like every movement is preconditioned on memory. Like if there is no even short-term memory, then I won't even perceive movement.
If there is no short-term memory, you will not even perceive movement.
Yeah, there will be no change.
Yeah. So, definitely. So what is the point you're trying to make with this argument?
So now, then what is the nature of this time? What is the nature of this movement?
I mean, movement is there. So all discrete objects, all objects are discrete, and position changes, movement is recognized. You call, what is a movement? Movement is something you call to something that is changing.
Yeah.
Changing its position. Let's even be even more specific. Changing its position.
Yeah.
In space. So there is space, there is an object, there is a change of location. All these things are involved in motion. And so you're recognizing motion. And to recognize motion, you have to have a mind. And memory is needed. Why memory is needed? Why is memory needed? To recognize motion. So suppose the bird has flown from there to here. It has come to your home. It is standing on the window sill. You have to say the bird has come. You must know that the bird was not there before.
Yeah.
That is memory only, no doubt. It is memory, right? Because that short-term memory is needed. Some time ago, the bird was not there. Now the bird is there. So memory is there. Memory is definitely needed. And short-term memory is needed. No doubt about that. To appreciate movement, to appreciate time. Time also, to appreciate time, short-term memory is needed.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to say. So even movement is dependent upon memory. Like if there was no memory, I wouldn't perceive movement. So
correct.
In a sense, yeah.
Correct.
Right?
No, that's fair. That's fair. The mind has to be there, available, and memory is an important attribute of that mind, important function of the mind, shall we say? And so, yeah, definitely memory is needed.
So is it also fair to say that the flow of time really is memory? Because is it also fair to make that statement? Flow of time, as in the perception of the flow of time, is really speaking just memory operating.
Yeah, perception of the flow of time, buddhi has to get involved. So memories will only throw things at you. Okay. Now what you make out of it is what matters to you finally. Okay. So there is the memory is not the only aspect. It's not the only
I
aspect.
think the concept of time is in the memory only, right? Otherwise, you won't know what is yesterday, what is today. It is part of your memory, that whole concept of time.
So yeah, so he's saying the idea of time comes because of the memory of so many things that have been going on. And so that is what makes you infer that there is something called time.
Right. So that movement that he's talking about is etched in the memory only, right? It's part of the memory.
Yeah, it is part of the memory, which is part of the mind. And that is what gives you this deeply entrenched notion that time is real. Time is satyam. How can anybody say there's no time? Only busy people say there's no time. There's no time. There's no time. There's no time. Time is very much the same. There's no time. There's a lot of time, and so amazing what Vedanta does to us. But yeah, we need to think about that a little more. And
if I can comment, basically I heard about relationship between time and space, but not between time and memory. Time is considered, if I remember, as a fourth dimension. Like we have the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and then time goes along all the axes. So time is considered as the fourth dimension. So memory is like a data representation of the displacement or the change of position. So the only way you can record change in displacement is if memory is somewhat like implicit. So usually I hear in scientific arguments, relationship between time and space and time, but not between memory and time. Memory and space, or memory and time. Memory is needed, as someone was telling, to record the positional changes over time. Otherwise, if there's no memory, the data is lost of the displacement.
correct.
So
correct.
but time is considered as the fourth dimension, X, Y, Z, and then time.
Yeah.
So there is a series of interesting lectures by Professor Ramasubramaniam, IIT. It's available on YouTube on the definition of time.
Okay.
Defines time as the gap between two occurrences, two events. Like the definition of a day is the gap between a sunrise and a sunset.
Yeah. Correct. So they had to. That's why they used all the phenomena, natural phenomena outside, to decide time. And there was not a time. There was a time when there were no clocks. What do you do when clock is a new phenomenon?
Yeah,
So they defined their life. They defined their life based on the sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, eclipses. All these things became very big. Yeah, if you can send that link.
I'll send that link. Yeah, there's a series of lectures he has given. It's available on YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Sure. Very important. Time is an important concept to slowly understand, because we are basically in the journey of taking everything that we consider to be absolutely real and then showing that that's not absolutely real. It rests on something else. And so time is one such thing. Time and space also. So space is not to be taken lightly either. Good. Any other questions? Yeah, Vaidya, go ahead.
Yes, Jagmarti, in this verse which talks about Traigunya Vishaya Veda, so in what sense is the Veda, talking about three gunas? And then secondly, it says Nistray Gunyo Bhavarjuna. Now, Nistray Gunya also means Sattva is also included in that, right? So why this? So these two things. One is the Traigunya Vishaya Veda, and then the second one is this Nistray Gunya.
Correct. So yeah, as we said in the last class also, so this Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha, so there the Sattva, Rajas and Tammo Guna. Okay, so Sattva is that which yields happiness, composure and other things are there, and but the focus there is on happiness, because I want Sukha. So Sattva Guna gives me Sukha, and then Tamo Guna go all the way down, so it can give me Pramada, can give me Dukkha. Okay, so when he says Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha, he says this karma kanda can only give you Sukha and Dukkha. Yeah, I mean, it can give you Sukha, but it keeps you in this cycle of seeking Sukha constantly, and Sukha is never permanent. Therefore you will have Dukkha also. Vedas won't give you Dukkha. It will give you Dukkha if you try to do a ritual. It will give you a lot of Dukkha. That is also there. No ritual is easy to do, and that's when all your back pain and everything it will start wondering, my goodness, what is this? And so because you can't sit in a sofa and then do a ritual. Generally you don't do that. I have not seen people do. Of course, special reasons, disabilities and all may be there, but in general, the Ishvara will not come to you in a platter. You have to go to Ishvara. So anyway, so Traigunya Vishaya there refers to this Sukha Dukkha Pradatmakam Veda. So it gives you Artha and Kama and Dharma, which will give you Sukha and Dukkha both. Vedas will give you Artha and Kama. Vedas are meant to satisfy my Artha, Kama and Moksha and Dharma, Karma Kanda. Therefore, Traigunya Vishaya. So there that Sattva Guna refers to the ability to give things which can give you happiness. Okay. Now, Sattvastaha Bhava is what? Be committed to Sattva Guna. Be committed to knowing. Nistraigunya Bhava means don't be committed to Artha Kama and which the Vedas gives through its three gunas. And so Nistraigunya Bhava. But don't throw the baby with the bath water, and you keep the sattva with you. And there the sattva means the ajnanam that you have recognized as something that is the cause of your samsara, which can only be removed by jnanam. So be committed to knowledge. Be committed knowing. And the minute you say knowing, sattva guna is needed. Sattva guna comes. Without sattva guna, there is no knowing. So that is the implication there. So it appears to be contradictory, correct? Nistraigunya Bhava, then Nitya Sattvastaha Bhava. Those two words seem to be contradictory, is it not? That is your question.
Correct. So Nistraigunya or Bhava means you're not being subject to what? You're not being wedded only to the karma kanda. That's what it means. Nistraigunya Bhava.
Nistraigunya Bhava means don't be committed to Artha and Kama and Dharma. Don't be committed to Artha and Kama. That is the meaning of Nistraigunya Bhava. And so why we read that? That is because through Artha and Kama only I get all the gunas. Namely, the Sukha and Dukkha are within that three gunas. Experiential happiness. So that experience I seek through Artha and Kama. Okay. And so therefore he says Nistraigunya Bhava. Don't be somebody who seeks happiness through these Artha and Kama. You better turn the focus to this idea of happiness and that to the idea that Atma is Purnaha. Atma Sachidananda ityadi. So for that knowledge is needed. So therefore Nitya Sattvastaha Bhava. So the word Nitya also has to be taken along with that. Yeah, Nitya Sattvastaha. So commitment. So Nitya there refers to commitment.
Right.
Be committed to that. So yeah, it appears to be contradictory, but it is not contradictory. Yeah, Mohan Sai, go ahead. Okay, we can't hear you. Yeah, we still can't hear you. This is the last question. We can conclude after this.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can. It's feeble, but we can hear you.
Guruji, can you hear me now?
Yeah, again, feeble. Yeah, I think you have to come closer to the mic or something like that. We can hear you. Go ahead. Let's see.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Yeah, so he can't hear us. Go ahead, Anil, you had a question. We'll conclude with that.
Yeah, basically, I had the doubt of that Sashti and Saptami because the Samplut Todake and is in Saptami, and the equivalent which is in comparison in the second line is in Sashti. So why are they in different vibhaktis when they are being equated actually?
So, don't know how they are equated. How Brahmanasya and Saptami and Shashti are identical. They're not.
Basically, we are equating, right? The reservoir and the flood, and the Veda and the Brahman.
Veda and the Brahmana. Yeah. So but Brahmanasya. So there, in the first portion of the shloka, the person to whom that well is useful is not given. There is no word for referring to that person. Yavan artha udapane sarvatah samplutodake. So there, for whom is that well useful? That is not said there, no? You understand, okay. Anil? So for whom is that well useful? That is not given in the first line. So if that were given, then that would be Purushasya. You must add Purushasya in the first line.
Yeah.
Purushasya should be added in the first line. Then here Brahmanasya. Purushasya means a person.
Okay, then equivalent to that Samplut Todake, what is there in the second line? Is it the complete knowledge?
Udapane. So Udapane equivalent is the Vedeshu, Sarveshu Vedeshu.
Yeah, what will be equivalent to Samplut Todake?
Samplut Todake goes along with Udapane. A well among a flood. A well in a flood.
Yeah, same way I'm trying to understand. The Veda among what?
Veda among this Purnatmananda. Veda among means among this Brahmana. This Brahmana who is a Jnani. So in the Jnani, Veda is not useful, as much use.
Oh, in Jnani. Okay.
Jnani who is Purnaha, who is flooded with knowledge, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that is also implicit here.
Yeah, it's all implicit. Yeah. Correct.
Dhanyavad.
Good. Good. I'm glad you're analyzing all these shlokas. Good. Astu, we'll complete with the chanting of the mantra. So Mohan Sai, if you're there, you can ask the question next class. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha.